Trigger warning. Ghosts, ghouls, and gruesome stuff ahead. It's weird. It's dark. It's your kind of vibe. Welcome to Haunted and Homicidal, the podcast where true crime meets the paranormal. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Courtney. Every week, we uncover the terrifying, the twisted, and the totally unexplainable. Lock your doors and grab your sage.
Because things are about to get haunted and homicidal. So what's going on in your part of the world?
Work.
Yeah. Sucks being an adult.
All I feel like I do is work.
Yeah.
And then research.
And then work again.
And then work again.
Yeah. I'm there.
I have no life.
That's okay. Who needs a life?
So many things to do. No time.
No desire.
I have a whole freaking art stuff I need to work on. Oh my God.
Well, look, at least you don't have kids you have to worry about.
That's true.
That's the only bright, shining whatever.
My car gets paid off in October, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. You had it that long?
I've had it
I remember when you bought it.
2021?
Yeah, I remember when you bought it.
Yeah, so.
That's 2 months, 3 months?
Well, I guess
September, October, November. Oh, wait, no. Where am I going?
3 months. 3 months.
Look, I'm worried about my birthday in November, so I just surpassed everything else. But I shouldn't because, October is my favorite month.
I'm about to say, I'm surprised you weren't born in October.
I should have been. My actual due date was the 29th of November.
Your mom's slacking.
Look, she should have just did the deed a month earlier.
She should have.
And I would have been a Halloween baby. But I'm a Sagittarius, so it all works out. So I guess we'll just go ahead and get on into the episode. This is either going to be a 2 or a 3-parter because it's kind of lengthy. So buckle up, Buttercup, I guess.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
And let's get into it. So today we're going to be talking about Pazuzu Algarad.
Who the hell named himself Pazuzu?
So
that sounds like a pizza.
Or a really neat cocktail. Give me one of them Pazuzus, So he really, okay, so that was not his birth name. He gave himself that name way later in life, but he was born John Alexander Lawson, and sometimes when people give themselves nicknames, it's kind of, okay, yeah, I can see where he got that from, Johnny or Alex or.
It's a bazooki.
No, that's not what we're talking about right now. Two completely different things.
I got ADHD, man. I get distracted.
Well, I mean, because if they named it, I would hope nobody names any kind of food Pazuzu, basically because of who he is and what he did. And we'll get into that.
I had a squirrel moment. I'm sorry.
A what?
A squirrel moment.
Okay, that's what I thought you said. I wasn't sure if you said squirrel or square. One I understood, the other I did not.
I don't know at this point. I don't even know myself.
Okay. But he was born John Alexander Lawson on August 12th of 1978, which makes him a Leo.
Oh, he's 3 days from my brother's birthday.
Anyway, he was born to Cynthia James and possibly Timothy Lawson, though some sources say it's not been confirmed of who his dad actually is.
His dad said, I am not claiming this child.
Well, I mean, in the beginning, it wasn't bad, and maybe after everything came out, he was like, not it. Not it.
Not it.
But in the early years, everything seemed to be normal. They seemed to be a normal family. Cynthia, his mother, had said that she first noticed a change in her son when she remarried. And she, the stepfather, who was named John, moved into a home on Nob Hill Drive in Clemens. And the stepfather and Johnny, we're going to call him Johnny because it's going to be confusing with John and John.
She must love the name John.
I don't know. Dad's name's Timothy.
That's true, too.
It's just, coincidence maybe. But they did not get along, the stepdad and the little boy. And he became reclusive. Johnny did. mainly because he just didn't want to be around his stepfather. There really wasn't a whole lot of information about like if he was abusive or, you know, verbally, physically, or otherwise. You know, and sometimes it doesn't take those kinds of things just to not get along with somebody or like somebody, especially as a kid, you know, because it could just be the situation where mom and dad aren't together anymore. And now a new man's here trying to be my dad, you know, and it might not be anything nefarious, but it doesn't say one way or the other in any of the sources that I watched, listened to, or read that their relationship was not good because of abuse or neglect or anything like that. So that, you know, that's a good thing, I guess. Yeah. Now the community of Clemens was a very, and still is a very religious community, and they believed heavily in Satan and the dark forces, or, you know, evil.
Hold on, where is Clemens?
Yes. Indiana, North Carolina? Let me
Do
look.
not say North Carolina.
I don't remember. Hold on. North Carolina.
Dang it.
Let's see. Whereabouts? It is around southeast or west. I don't know directions. Southeast or west of Winston-Salem.
Oh, that was only...
That's around your neighborhood, isn't it? Like in that area?
Yeah, that's only...
It's like north of Charlotte. It's between Charlotte and Winston-Salem.
So that would be a almost 3-hour drive. I think Charlotte was 3 hours away from where we were.
Where were y'all?
Creedmoor.
I don't see where that is on this map.
It's by Raleigh.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah. If you can look. Raleigh is there. Clemens is there.
Oh, yeah. So then that's
not far.
That's not far at all.
Yeah. Actually, we'll get there.
Hell no.
I think he was like institutionalized somewhere in Raleigh. I mean, you were a baby when this happened. It's like early 2000s. You were a baby.
I was a baby. I was born in 96.
Yeah. So I think you were 10 when he did the first thing.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So you wouldn't have, well, I'm going to say you wouldn't have crossed his path. Even if y'all visited, like it wouldn't have happened. Anyway, Pazuzu hated his stepdad, like I said, and he eventually convinced his mom to divorce him and kick him out of the house just entirely, just because he didn't like him. So she did. So that should be your first indication of how her relationship with Pazuzu is, and
how old was he when he was like, kick him out?
Young, 6, 8.
The fact that she listens to her 6, 8-year-old child with that.
Yeah. I'm going to say, around 8, simply because of kind of what happens around that same time with him. But when the couple separated, the neighbors in the area said that's when they started to see him outside again playing, but they never saw him like go to school. Like didn't get on the school bus, didn't get off the school bus. He would just be like out in the yard playing, you know? And so he was school aged, but he just never went. And she never enforced it even as a child.
Unless she homeschooled him.
I don't think she did.
Oh.
No, I don't think she did. I think she just didn't send him to school like she should have, because he would whine or cry about it most likely, and she just didn't want to deal with it, or felt bad for him because of the situation. And, you know, he did repeat the 2nd and the 9th grade twice before he eventually dropped out. You know, so again, when they separated, the stepdad and mom, he was fairly young. It's school age, but young. And he would later tell the doctors that 9th grade was, quote unquote, when the phobia around people started. He was a self-proclaimed male witch or warlock or whatever. I hear they're completely different things, and then some sources say they're the same thing, male witch, warlock.
I feel like that would be the same
I mean, when you Google what is a warlock, it says male witch.
Because I feel like that's...
But I think people who practice prefer male witch versus warlock, because I think maybe warlock has like a negative tone towards it.
Yeah, I think warlock's more like negative,
evil. Because like when you think of most warlocks from movies or TV shows, they're usually evil.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, so I can
like
see
the
why
dark
they
side. Yeah, I can see that as well. But it is an interchangeable term, more or less, unless it's interchangeable, whatever. So he did admit that he was a poor student, typically receiving flunking grades for his classwork. He would frequently fight with other students, and he admitted to being verbally disrespectful to the teachers. And that's kind of, yeah, the fucking fruit fly. I hate those things. But we live in the South, and they're here to stay. Kind of like this fucking heat.
I need this heat to go away.
Bullshit. It doesn't even go away. Well, okay, I'm going to say it doesn't even go away in the winter, but it like literally snowed like 8 inches in January. It's the first time in like 20 something years it snowed here.
I know, my roommate was so excited. She's like, let's go outside. I'm like, I don't want to.
We spent almost all of our time outside. The dogs loved it. Misha loved it. London was outside making snow angels in the road, which was okay because there weren't any cars coming. They built snowmen. My mom.
Your mom could be a snowman.
She was so excited too. She was building snowmen, and it was a good time. Kind of, I guess.
I mean, when you grew up as much snow as I did.
But see, we didn't. I've been here since I was 3 months old. I was born in Massachusetts in the snow because it was November. But I don't remember any of it because I was 3 months old.
Yeah.
And I've never been, like, I stick to the southern states. Louisiana, Texas, Alabama, Florida. That's where I've been. Arkansas. I've never been north of that. So I don't really, snow is a big thing for us. It's scary because nobody down here knows how to drive.
No, they do not. I was like, I am not leaving my apartment.
Put us in a tornado or a hurricane and we can drive to the nines. Snow? It ain't happening.
Some people still can't drive in the rain.
Well, they can't, but we're more used to that. Like, we can kind of figure that out a little bit if you try. Most people, I think, just get in their car, yell YOLO, and then whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, because I'm like, I'm not leaving my apartment. I'm like, no.
Yeah, so it was a good time, though, you know.
It's pretty to take pictures of.
It was. I don't know if I showed you the picture from the front of my house, but it's got my huge oak tree in the back covered in snow, and the whole house is covered in snow, and it's like in black and white. And it's,
you did not show me that picture.
I'll have to find it later, but it's really pretty. I was excited about it. And it's just a simple, I just walked out into the road and took a picture to show the landlord, because she's in Florida and she's never seen snow either. And I'm like, it's majestic. It's majestic as fuck out here right now. So,
yeah, North Carolina, we got snow.
Yeah. How do we even get on talking about snow?
I have no idea.
We might have to cut this whole thing out. I don't know. We'll see. Because
we do have squirrel moments. We apologize.
We're ADHD to the max. I am unmedicated. I think I'm more fun that way.
Exactly.
So let's get back to the story. Okay, so around 9th grade is when his appearance began to change. He had long, beautiful, like blonde hair. He reminded me of a kid that was like in a boy band. Just with the way he looked, he was attractive. He had long blonde hair, kind of Nick Carter looking a little bit, you know, Backstreet Boy, NSYNC, mix of several member kind of thing. And he wasn't like horribly ugly after he did all the shit that he did to himself, but he looked better before, in my opinion. But he didn't like it. So he shaved all of his hair off and began dressing in a style that evoked the demons with which he became obsessed. So basically he wore black clothes. He was goth, metal. But, you know, if you wear black, apparently you're trying to evoke demons.
I mean, I wear black, so it makes me look slimmer.
I wear black all the time just because I like black.
It makes you look slimmer. So that's
no, I'm not worried about any of that. I'm a fat ass and I don't care. I just wear black because I like black.
And black goes with everything. So
yeah, you know, I mean, but also I only wear leggings and t-shirts because...
I mean, I'm wearing black leggings right now. So.
I'm wearing, mine are black with bats and pumpkins because I'm Halloween 24/7.
Mine are just plain black.
Yeah. And then I've got my SpongeBob shirt on.
Oh, yeah. The singing SpongeBob.
Yeah. From the concert that they put on. Yeah. I had other ones. I don't know where they are. I think they got left at the old house, but it's whatever. Anyway, Algarad's aim was to ostracize himself from society. He claimed to control the weather and said that he was a vampire wolf hybrid.
Alrighty then.
Not to be confused with Hope on Legacies, because she's a tribrid. So he was almost Hope, but lacking.
So he was pretty much Klaus.
Well, no, actually, he would have been Hope because he claimed to be a male witch. He claimed to be a wolf vampire hybrid, so he would have been a tribrid.
Yeah, he would have been Hope.
Well,
Hope's better.
He would have been Klaus if Klaus were
That's true.
a tribrid. No, because he wasn't a witch.
Yeah, he didn't have.
But his mom was a witch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a little confusing because he was a witch and then he was a hybrid wolf vampire. So was he also a tribrid? Because some of that witch blood would have gone into him from his mom, right?
I don't remember him ever doing magic, though.
I don't think he did, but I mean, that DNA would still be there, right?
None
of them did magic, right? I know Rebecca didn't. Elijah didn't. Cole, did he do magic?
Cole did.
Did he? Because I know he married Davina.
Yeah, I think.
And she was a witch.
Yeah, I think Cole did more of the magic part than the rest of them.
I'm so confused.
Because he was helping Davina with some parts.
Right. So he would be a tribrid, right? We are so off topic. This is going to be rough. This editing is going to be brutal for me.
I feel like I need to watch the originals again.
Yeah, because, like, I'm confused. Okay.
We apologize for our scroll moments, people.
Yeah. I'm probably going to have to, like, edit a lot of this out. So it's like we're 18 minutes in and only a page in because we're not even talking about the story.
Well.
Okay. Let's continue. All right. So he started looking for anything to help him cope with how he saw the world. And a forensic evaluation later showed that he started regularly consuming alcohol at the age of 13. His mother said that she was worried about the people he was spending time with. By that time, Pazuzu had virtually no relationship with his biological father and often spoke of suicide. And again, that's around the age 13.
So wait, did he know his biological father then?
So he knew his biological father because up until the time that she remarried, he was in his life. But again, there is no confirmation on who this person actually is. Like, I don't know if they're just guessing based on the timeline or he just doesn't want to claim that he's the father.
Okay.
I mean, I really don't know. It never goes into depth with him, but like it lists his mom. Like his mom is a lot more researchable than the dad is. But his mom did say there was this one guy that he was doing meth with who had gotten John into it. And she claims that she just kind of turned a blind eye towards it at 13. At 13. Do you know how many heads I would rip off and roll if I found out that my kid was doing meth? At any age, even an adult.
That's crazy.
But this is a child, a 13-year-old. But again, you know, she doesn't seem to have like the parenting thing.
He must have been an accident.
I mean, I don't know if he was an accident, but I think it was maybe just a situation that she found herself in with a divorce and then a remarriage and then another divorce. Maybe she just kind of babied him a little bit.
Yeah, being an only child, probably.
Hold on.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to get my back scratcher. My back itches. I knew I should have left it out. I'm like, no, I'm not going to need it. Yeah, the fuck I am. My back itches all the time. Okay. Cynthia,
I like how
again.
that's pink, too.
I do pink and like teal mint. Mint is my favorite color. Cynthia, his mom, brought him to what was then Reynolds Health Center on Highland Avenue. And he wasn't there long. Soon he was back out, sinking deeper into his new identity. Friends of the family basically said that Cynthia spoiled Pazuzu, and in return, he treated her very poorly, which kind of seems to be a running total when you have kids who are spoiled. You know, they don't really treat their parents with respect.
That is true.
It just seems to be the way it is. A babysitter of Pazuzu's, her name was Carmen Daub. She stated that she babysat him Friday through Sundays, and she said that he was a good kid, but, you know, kind of weird, wearing a cape and vampire teeth all the time. But as a kid, that's cute. That's like, no, I wouldn't look at that and be like, there's something wrong with that kid.
He's dressing up, being a kid.
Yeah, he's being a kid. I wouldn't think there was something wrong. But she kind of noted it as just weird behavior. not visible in other children around his age in the area, I guess. Probably because of how religious that community was.
Yeah, so they're probably not really kids dressing up in that community.
Well, I mean, there might be, just probably not of like demons or dark entities or,
No, they're going to be like Tinkerbell and princesses.
Right. And the men, like, or the boys, astronauts or firefighters and things like that. Yeah. So, I mean, it was weird in the community because of the kind of community it was, but it was not weird in the respect of children. I have kids. London, when she was 6 or 7, she went as like one of the Monster High characters for Halloween, and she wore that thing for like 2 months.
I actually wore my dance costumes for Halloween.
Yeah. So they dress up. I mean, it happens. They're kids, and I wouldn't think anything weird about it. But she stated that Cynthia was the one that was abusive towards him, not the stepfather, when the stepfather was in the picture. And that at the age of 8, Cynthia had him institutionalized. Carmen stated that it should have been Cynthia that was locked up at that time and not Pazuzu. She did state that Cynthia drank a lot and went out with a lot of men frequently, leaving Pazuzu behind. Like, it doesn't specify like leaving him behind with her or leaving him behind on his own.
Probably both.
I mean, it could be, because she said she did babysit Friday through Sunday, but I mean, Monday through Thursday, there could have been situations where he was left by himself. It never really specifies. Stephanie Seidel, she was a neighbor and a schoolmate. She stated that people called Pazuzu Turd Boy while in school because he frequently smelled like human excrement, even though like he didn't appear dirty.
Yeah.
Like, he had clean clothes, clean shoes, clean fingernails. He appeared clean, but he just emitted this smell of poop, like, all the time. Not just sometimes, like, all the time.
Isn't there, like, some medical thing about that? If you smell, that you, like, smell certain... I don't know.
If you smell certain things, or if someone smells like certain things?
If someone smells like certain things.
I'm sure there is, but I don't think that applies here. Like, I don't know what it was. If he was using the bathroom on himself and that's why he smelled like that, or...
People do that at the casino.
I mean, just because you look clean doesn't mean you are clean, But she also stated that he hung cats in his tree that she could see, because she lived like a couple houses down diagonal from him.
Them poor cats.
And this is when he was young.
The hell?
Yeah, that's like the first sign of a sociopath, a psychopath, is mistreatment of animals.
And people, no, the fact of this neighborhood, you can clearly see cats hanging from a tree, and they know. Oh my god!
They just shut their eyes to it, like, literally. And when we find out what kind of things were happening in that house, and how long it took for the police to catch on.
For a religious community, they suck at
I mean,
you would think they'd be like the number one people to call about certain things.
I mean, I don't know, like, if they were just, because they were so religious and evil, maybe they just didn't want to get involved and have whatever was happening there come to their house. I don't know. But it's kind of like this whole community and the police dropped the ball, and a lot of this, everything that happened could have been prevented. It really, honestly, in my honest opinion, I feel like it could have been prevented if people paid more attention, or the police believed what they were hearing, but we'll get there. Later in his life, though, Algarad was notoriously unemployed, and he did receive disability and SSI due to his mental health issues. He purposely tried to scare people in the community. Like, for example, when 9/11 happened, he went out into the community wearing a jihad mask and head covering just to rile people up and scare them, because everybody at that time didn't know what was happening, and we were worried about intruders infringing on our rights, blowing things up, crashing into more buildings that had thousands of people in them. It was a rough time. You were young then. You probably don't really...
I was in 5th grade.
Yeah, you probably don't remember a whole lot. I was a sophomore in high school.
Yeah, I think I was in 5th grade, and I was in school when it happened because I think our science teacher started crying.
Yeah, you were like 6.
Or no.
Because it was in 2001.
Yeah, so I was 5th grade. Our social sciences teacher was crying.
Not at 6. You would have been in 1st grade.
No.
In 2001. You were 96.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You would have been 5. You'd have been in kindergarten.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you were...
God, I'm old.
Bitch. I was in 10th grade. You were in 1st kindergarten. I don't want to hear nothing about old. But I remember this vividly because it happened, and I was in my, I think, 2nd or 3rd period, and it was reading or English. And, like, we did nothing for the rest of the day. We all sat there and cried. We didn't know what was happening.
Yeah, I remember my teacher was crying.
It was rough. It was really rough. So I can empathize with the community for being scared, you know, and that was a really fucking dick move. Really dick move, you know, on his part. But that's what he was about. You know, we'll see later that was his MO. He just wanted to be an asshole and disrupt and cause chaos. And he did exactly that. Pazuzu did talk about wanting or building a legion of quote unquote fucked up people to do fucked up things.
All right, Charles Manson.
Exactly. And he liked the idea of a family committing murders together, very reminiscent of Manson.
Copycat.
They frequently called him Charles Manson, but worse.
Was that the cat?
Are they scratching on this door? Open it and see. It's probably either Lily or Voodoo.
No one's at the door, but you're the fluffy gray one's like standing in the hallway looking all creepy.
Lucy. His name's Lucifer. He lives up to his name because he bites.
Yeah, he came running when I opened the door. I said, nope.
Oh, Lucy did? Yeah, he wants in here.
Yeah, he got excited when I opened the door.
Poor baby. So he legally changed his name from John to Pazuzu in homage of an ancient Assyrian demon, perhaps best known for its depiction in the movie The Exorcist. And his new surname, Algarad, translates from Arabic to mean God of Locusts. So he's like demon god of locusts is basically what his name translates over to. So again, he was...
Oh, I did rewatch Exorcist, so that name does sound familiar actually now.
Pazuzu?
Yeah, because I did watch The Exorcist the other day.
Did you?
Yes,
Yeah.
I did.
I just, that wasn't one of the ones that I really ever got into, really. The parodies were much better, in my opinion, but that's neither here nor there. Cynthia said, this is Cynthis. I spelled that wrong. Cynthia said that Pazuzu did not worship the devil. Okay. But rather a dragon named Tiamat, a reference to a Mesopotamian goddess associated with the primordial sea and chaos, which, I mean, he may have, but he specifically worshipped the devil.
I was like, isn't the devil sometimes compared to a dragon?
Well, I mean, like, the devil takes on the devil. Okay, let me put that in parentheses here. High five.
I'm trying to
I see it.
I'm trying to get this dang fruit fly. Oh my god.
I see it. Just leave it alone. It'll die eventually. They don't live long. But the devil is referenced to be like a lot of different things. I think I have. Oh, I hit my head. I have a Bahamut right there.
Oh,
Just the devil, goat devil. My little bookshelf of things, witches and witchcraft and sage. I have a brand new thing of sage up there, right?
Oh yeah, I see it.
Right next to Zero, and I have an elephant. He's just chilling between all the spooky stuff.
Oh, I know where you got that witch picture.
Yeah, I know too.
And I gotta send you pictures of the crystals that.
Yeah, I definitely need the crystals. So I'm gonna fucking put those like on a board and stick it above London's door. Okay. What had begun with clothing quickly evolved into body modification. Lots of tattoos on his face, on like all over his body, and he whittled his teeth down to points while high on meth. Allegedly.
How would you whittle your teeth? Like, what would you use?
Probably like a nail file. or some kind of file.
Oh, that'll hurt.
But it's alleged, because later on, like, spoiler alert, he dies.
I mean, I would hope so.
While in jail, he dies. And, like, the coroner's report doesn't really say that he had whittled down teeth. Like, his teeth weren't pointy. But this was just kind of, like, the believed thing about him. Fox 8 had actually spoken with a tattoo artist named Ronnie Whitesell in 2014 to kind of get, like, perspective on what the tattoos meant or possible meanings. And he said the tattoos pretty much tell a story. He said that the facial tattoos were all versions of different tribal markings. The tattoos on the chin was a Polynesian Mako tattoo, which is usually drawn on warriors during ceremonies or sacrifices to show their tribal affiliation.
That's just wrong.
Cultural appropriation, because he was a white person.
That's just wrong.
You know, and he definitely didn't sacrifice anything, and he was not a warrior at all by any means. And the one on his cheek was a version of Celtic knotwork worn mostly by Viking warriors. So again, he just kind of had things that inflated his ego because he was not deserving of any of the markings or their meanings behind them.
Hell no.
In February 2006, at the age of 27, Algarad went to Daymark Recovery Services. There, psychiatrists had determined that Algarad suffered from schizophrenia, agoraphobia, which is the fear of open spaces, and alcoholism.
Yeah, he's drinking since he was 13.
I mean, somebody's cooking something.
They better be sharing.
I don't know what it is. It smells like maybe a case of ideas. For those that don't know what schizophrenia is a psychotic disorder characterized by a distortion of emotional reality accompanied with delusions and hallucinations.
Probably didn't help those drugs.
Never does. It never does. A Greensboro psychiatrist, Dr. Phil Levine, said that Algarad's schizotypal personality disorder would have led him to experience unusual perceptual experiences, odd ways of thinking or speech, and to be suspicious and paranoid all the time, which, I mean, he was.
Yeah.
In a pretrial interview in 2010, Algarad told the doctors that he often experienced panic symptoms when he left his home. And that led Algarad to suffer from depression, and he drank even more to help cope with the mental health issues. The doctors did say that he was physically healthy and taking medication for his mental illness, including Paxil, Lamictal, and Ativan, but Algarad said the drugs made him, quote unquote, feel like a zombie, which led him to stop taking them. I have been on antidepressants that have made me feel that way. And my diabetes medication, my Neurontin, and my gabapentin, I had to stop taking those because, like, I know that feeling. It sucked.
Who comes up with these things for these drugs? Like, really?
But of course, I was not taking mine for psychosis. It was, for neuropathy, nerve damage. But like when people say it makes you feel like a zombie, like I know what that feels like. So I feel for him in that sense because it doesn't help. It makes you feel worse.
Yeah.
Especially when you have mental health issues, like it's rough. Despite his mental health issues, Dr. Levine stated that they are not the culprit behind the violence. Levine said, "I cannot connect up from a schizotypal personality structure to murder," calling the case an outlier because there are probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in the States that have schizophrenia or some form of psychosis that are not out there doing what he did. Unmedicated. Yeah. Unmedicated out there living life, but not doing what he did. So this doctor is basically saying he cannot say that the mental issues or him not being medicated is what caused this. He said it was something deeper. But according to Levine, Algarad would not have responded well to additional medications. He had alcohol problems for a long time, and then he started getting into the methamphetamines, which is not likely to help him, but to make his anxiety issues worse. And that is a direct quote. And Algarad, he eventually left Daymark after 2 months, but then later returned in October of 2008. Within the next year after he got out, Cynthia said that she was in the home as Algarad and his self-proclaimed wife, Amber Nicole Birch, killed Joshua Frederick Wetzler and Tommy Dean Welch. 2 separate occasions. They were not murdered together, but she was in the home during both of these murders.
How are you going to be home?
Look,
when someone's being murdered.
It's the same question we had earlier. How are you not going to make your 6-year-old child go to school? How are you going to let your 13-year-old child do meth and drink severely? How? I don't have the answers, unfortunately. I am just the messenger. A friend of Pazuzu's, his name was Nate Anderson, said he was quote unquote intrigued by the free world Pazuzu built around himself. While in school, Nate had been a straight A student with a full ride to Wake Forest University, but unfortunately was in and out of recovery for heroin, I believe. I was watching it's called The Evil You Know, I think. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. And in there, like, him and his girlfriend were, like, shooting up. Almost every scene that had them in it, they were shooting up or trying to get money for drugs. So I'm pretty sure it was heroin because they would melt it in the spoon and inject it. So I'm thinking it's heroin.
Yeah, I think that's heroin.
But he eventually relapsed on heroin, so he lost his scholarship. He claimed that Pazuzu had a quote unquote twisted sort of charisma, the kind of charisma that's not going to appeal to everyone. Certain minds are drawn in by that. The misfits, the outcasts, the crazy people living on the edge, or people wanting to live on the edge. So just people who enjoyed chaos, more or less. Maybe not like destructive chaos, but just didn't conform to societal norms. Nate began dating a girl named Dixie Ross, who was obsessed with Pazuzu and Amber. Nate had stated at one point they had gone out into Pazuzu's backyard, and Dixie asked him if he had ever stopped to think about why the ground was so uneven. She was basically implying that he had murdered people and the bodies were buried in the backyard, and she claimed to have even helped bury a body at one point. Another friend of Pazuzu's... Alrighty then. It's a lot. Another friend of Pazuzu's named Crazy Dave Adams said that, quote unquote, when I first met him, we mainly just hung out, chilled around and whatnot, maybe did a little bit of heroin every now and again, just a shit ton of drinking and cut ourselves and each other, maybe drink the bird of a blood or so.
The what?
Blood of a bird.
That's not what you said at first, I think.
I probably didn't. Bird of a blood. That's probably what I said.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah. I can't speak, so, but it's the blood of a bird.
That's
blood
gross.
Of a bird. Hand sanitizer. Yeah. Got it. Yeah. But that's what they did when they hung out, right? At one point, Pazuzu had told him he, quote unquote, he had killed homeless people and done a whole bunch of other people really bad. Shot a few people, stabbed a few people. There was never any proof to my knowledge of any of these things happening. And he goes on to say, if I was there hanging out and Paz told me, hey, I've got a person in my basement. Oh, you need the back scratcher?
Yeah.
If I was there hanging out and Paz told me, hey, I've got a person in my basement, I said, okay, cool, whatever, dude. It's not my problem. I was told if a person comes out of the basement, don't let him go. No one ever made a sound. No one ever knocked on a door. No one ever did anything. I was told that there was a person in the basement. I said, sure, if they come out of the basement, I'll make sure that they don't leave, clearly thinking that they were full of shit. Pazuzu looked at me, grabbed a very large knife. It was more or less a sword, but he said, I've done something. He didn't say what he had done, but he said, you're going to help me dig this hole or I'm going to kill you.
Okay.
Right.
That's okay. At that point, I'd be like, I'm going home. Goodbye.
Yeah. Peace out, Girl Scout.
I need to go to the store.
I would disappear. Disappear. Another friend.
Adios, amigos.
Another friend named Matt Flowers stated about the trajectory of Pazuzu's life, quote unquote. Pazuzu, I felt like he wasn't going anywhere. He was just kind of a shitbag, He just sat around his house all the time, never wanting to do anything positive. And at one point, while he was at Pazuzu's house, he was being disrespectful to his own mother. And a person unknown to Matt at the time was a very large, well-built man, stepped in and told Pazuzu that he was not going to continue to speaking to his mother like that. Yeah. And so Pazuzu called Matt into the kitchen, trying to convince Matt that they should murder that guy. You know, like, hey, let's fucking kill this guy.
Yes, let's kill someone who's 2 times bigger than me.
Yeah, let's just kill him.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's take him out. And he was like, hey man, let's just kill this guy, right? And we'll get away with it. We'll just get away with it.
Yes, because
like there's not going to be any recourse. Yeah, no recourse. We're not going to get in trouble. Let's just do it, right? But I want you to do it. I want you to kill him. I don't want to kill him. I want him dead, but I don't want to do...
He don't want to do the dirty work.
I don't want to do the doing. I want you to do it. Matt's like...
Lazy.
No. Matt noticed at that time that they had like run out of beer and cigarettes, and Pazuzu was broke, and Matt had money. So he told the built guy, hey man, let's go get some cigarettes. We've got to get some alcohol for Pazuzu. We need some more alcohol. So while they left to go get it, Matt was like, dude, look, you need to listen to me. You need to listen to me now. He told me he wants me to murder you. I'm just letting you know the truth of what's happening. After that, Matt took the guy out to eat at a Red Lobster, and that was the last time he ever saw him. So, like, he obviously listened and was like, yeah, no, I'm not going back over there.
Red Lobster sounds good.
I mean, because it doesn't matter how big you are. Pazuzu has a shotgun.
That's cheating.
I mean, it doesn't matter how big and bad you are. You are not bigger and badder than a gun pointed at you. You're just
That's
not.
True.
I don't care who you are, where you come from. You're just not.
At least he saved him.
Yeah, and luckily Matt was able to remove himself from that friend circle. He eventually went and got his GED and joined the military to get away.
Good job, Matt.
From the drugs, but mainly from Pazuzu, because he kind of knew that was he was not going down a good path. He was not going to end up in a good place if he stayed around. But while he was in the military, he became a gunner, and Pazuzu would frequently call him and ask him if he had killed anybody recently or at all, and wanted him to kind of elaborate on the murders, or, well, not murder. I mean, in wartime, it's really not considered murder, I guess, but okay. So
that's such a great conversation starter.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, did you kill anyone today?
Yeah. Yeah, basically, and that was kind of the conversation. And Matt's like, this is weird. I don't like this at all. You know, so he tried to withdraw himself from Pazuzu.
Block the number.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in 2008, 2006, I think I don't remember how phones were back then, but I don't think it was quite as easy as it is now to block someone.
It's true.
Simply because when you're overseas or whatever, you don't have a cell phone that works. You're using like the landlines and stuff, so you really can't block it, and you don't know who's on the phone until they call. I mean, you can just click, but till then, the
minute he starts talking, deny.
Right. Hang the phone up. Don't entertain it. Dixie had also been the ex-girlfriend of Matt.
That's your dog's name.
It is. She is not an ex-girlfriend of anybody named Matt, though.
I would hope not.
She's single. Ready to mingle. She's never been entwined.
Your dog is not ready to mingle.
No, she's not. She hates other dogs. She's ready to mingle with people, and she likes cats, especially kittens. The kittens that are in there, she is like fucking obsessed. She always has been, though. Anyway, Dixie had been dating Matt prior to all of this. While she was still dating Nate, Dixie had gotten in touch with Matt and told him that she was part of Pazuzu's family now. It was like a really cryptic message. And knowing Pazuzu and what he was capable of, Matt flew Dixie out to where he was 2 days later. And as they were driving from the airport, she told him absolutely everything. She told him that Amber called her up and told her they had murdered a guy, shot him in the head. And, she didn't
really like shooting people.
I mean, it's the quickest way to dispatch somebody, I guess.
That's true.
They told her, or Amber told her, that if she didn't help them bury him, they were going to slit her throat and bury her with him. So these were not good people. Like, no part of them was reputable, admirable, good. Like, they were pure unadulterated. And I'm surprised you being so close, y'all hadn't heard about this. This was huge.
Might have, and I don't.
I mean, you were young.
And I don't really watch the news, so I probably
ask your mom and dad if they know who Pazuzu Algarad is. They might know.
Yeah.
I mean, they're older than me, so they would think.
Yeah.
I would think that they might know. I mean, because it was national news. It was huge.
Yeah, and I didn't really watch the news anyway, so.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember how I came across this story. I've known it for years, though. Years and years. Anyway, Dixie had told him that she went over there because she was scared for her life, and that they started digging a hole, and they pushed him into it to find out that the hole was too shallow and part of his knees were sticking out. So they just put a tarp on him. She took a picture of it and they left him. They just left it like that.
You would think with how many holes apparently they buried, they would know how deep of a hole to dig.
Oh, this was the first murder. I believe. I think this was Wetzler. So they hadn't, allegedly, as far as we know, hadn't murdered before. But at some point, I think they dug the hole deeper, possibly. Simply because when the police come to search, like, they didn't find anything the first time. So they had to have redug the same hole or dug a different hole and put him in it that was larger. I guess learning from their mistakes. I'm not sure. It doesn't really specify later on how that happened. But, you know, apparently the picture she had showed the person with the legs bent up above the dirt with the tarp on him. So.
Alrighty.
Yeah. So now we are.
Wait, they didn't put the dirt, like, just put the dirt on top?
Yeah, but okay. So, like, if the hole was too shallow, like, his body was in it, but they didn't, I guess, make it long enough. So his knees were kind of like, you know, when you're in the tub, your knees are too long, so they're bent up a little bit. So I'm guessing that's what happened, and then they just put the tarp on him
to cover the,
to keep it covered, to keep the legs covered until either they've
got more dirt.
Probably dug another hole, because I mean I think a mound of dirt would be a little more suspicious than just flat dirt, you know, that looked like it had been.
I mean, we had a mound of dirt in our backyard. We always joked it was a dead body.
When I think about people with mounds of dirt in their backyards, I'm like, oh, that's a dead body right there.
Because it was literally like a mound of dirt, like body size.
Yeah. I think about that. And then, you know, the person over there on Orleans that nobody liked delivering to. I always said, I feel like he has bodies in his freezer.
I mean, if he never left his house.
In July of 2009, Algarad was loaded up with drugs and alcohol, according to Cynthia, his mom. When she remembers him walking into the house one morning in July, she said, I came out of my room and I said, what's going on? And there stood Algarad holding a rifle with Wetzler's body on the floor in front of them. So she said, Josh is lying on the floor. And I'm like, my God. I mean, I don't even remember what. I mean, I'm going crazy. And he just stood there. She said that she had asked Pazuzu to sit in the den before she returned to her bedroom, where she was getting ready for work, and sat there and thought about her options before choosing to do abso-fucking-lutely nothing. She did nothing. So she came back out of her room.
Pisses me off.
Yeah, she came back out of her room and said, I'm going to work. That was what she chose to do on that time.
She could have gone to work and be like, hey, my son fucking murdered someone in my house. Like, the hell?
She didn't even have to go to work. She could have gone straight to the police department.
Exactly.
But she went to work, worked her full shift.
Oh, his mother pisses me off.
And by the time she came home from work, Algarad and his friends had moved the body to the basement, and Cynthia just went to hide out in her room for the rest of the night. Let that one sink in.
His mother pisses me off.
Yeah, she's not my favorite person.
God.
She is not my favorite person at all. So we're going to get into a little bit about Josh, simply because I don't want to mull over the victims. You know, it's important that the victims are known.
No.
So, about Josh, he grew up in Virginia and took horseback riding lessons and fell in love with horses. He always wanted to own a large plot of land with the plan of building and training horses, and building a rehabilitation center.
Aww.
Yeah, it was really sweet. He met Stacy Carter in 1999, and they had been together as a couple for 6 years up to this point. She said that their relationship was exciting because he loved to travel and had a passion for life and what was quote unquote right and just. Stacy eventually got pregnant. They bought a small farm, just kind of like a starter to his dream. And unfortunately, due to some shady dealings from the bank, they got behind on the mortgage and they lost the farm in 2008. When the bank began the foreclosure proceedings, Stacy left him as he had turned to drugs to try to make ends meet, and she did not want their son Jared around that, which, I mean, is understandable.
Aww.
Josh's house was eventually raided because he had received a package of psychedelic mushrooms in the mail, which is a felony. So he was raided, and on February 23rd of 2009, he was convicted on drug charges. Spent some time in jail, but after that, no one would employ him because of his felony drug charge. And, due to his selling of drugs and doing of drugs, he found himself in Pazuzu's circle, which was dangerous, obviously.
Poor Josh.
And he would stay weeks on end at Pazuzu's home just, because he didn't really have anywhere else to be. He was last seen at a barbecue at Stacy's with some out-of-town friends. Stacy had no way of getting a hold of him and thought he was just hiding out and not reaching out, because when he would, and Stacy would find out where he was, she would tell his parole officer where he was hiding, making him, holding him accountable, making him hold himself accountable, because that's what should be done. That's what should be done, especially when you have a kid. However, worry mounted when he had not reached out to his mom on her birthday, and he didn't call his son Jared at Christmas, which he never missed. Aww. The birthday or Christmas. There was no active investigation despite finding his vehicle completely abandoned. I believe the keys were still in the vehicle when they found it. The police didn't reach out to anybody, friends, family, nobody. They just found the vehicle and were just like, whatever.
Okay, just because he had drug charges and stuff doesn't mean you should not look for somebody. Like, damn. Right.
And then that was kind of the thing. It was assumed that because of his prior drug charge, that he wasn't quote unquote worthy enough to allocate police resources, because it was assumed that he had just skipped town and was somewhere doing drugs. Because, I mean, literally all they found was the abandoned vehicle. They didn't find like a crime scene or like a scuffle or anything that would point to something nefarious happening to him. It was just, which I can see it from both perspectives. I can see the cops being like, well, he's done this before, blah, blah, blah. But I can see it from the family where it's like, he does not miss birthdays, Christmas. He just doesn't, no matter what's going on, he always calls. So I do see it from both sides. And the rough part is coming. The autopsy stated that Josh had been shot 3 times in the head and 4 to 5 times in the torso.
Overkill much?
Basically overkill. Stacy believes that he was really used for target practice rather than just a simple murder.
Aww.
I mean, that's what, 7 to 8 shots with a shotgun. Yeah. Like, it shouldn't have been. In
target practice, they usually go for the head and the torso.
Yeah. So that's kind of where Stacy's feeling, it was not just a simple murder. She feels like it was, I mean, obviously intentional, but more intentional than just like, hey, I want to kill somebody. It's like, I want to do as much as I can and hurt him as much as possible.
He kind of the first.
Yeah, he was alleged, the first confirmed official murder.
So I guess like practice and stuff.
Pazuzu claims to have murdered other people, but there's never been any kind of evidence suggesting that. It was just the 2 that we mentioned in the beginning. So Sylvia LeBeau, which was an acquaintance of Pazuzu, she came forward and she had said that she was at a party with a work friend and they were doing mushrooms and hula hooping and having fun. And on the ride home, LeBeau was telling her friend about Pazuzu killing Josh, and her friend was like, hey, I have a friend that you need to meet, like, immediately. And that friend turned out to be Stacy. So they arranged a meeting and they met up. So Sylvia concocted a plan to get a voice recording of information on how Josh was murdered, since Pazuzu and Amber and Crystal, who Crystal is like a second wife, girlfriend to Pazuzu, is like this little weird throuple thing.
So weird.
They were very proud of what they had done, and of what they were. So she went with her phone to Pazuzu's to get what information she could. She really didn't get a whole lot, but on the recording, Nate was said to have told LeBeau that, yeah, Pazuzu had killed people. But again, there's been like no evidence outside of the 2 murders that we know about. So it's not to say that he did. It's not to say that he didn't. It's just no factual evidence. So in August of 2009, now he killed him in July, beginning of July, not right away. The deputies, well, remember that, August of 2009, the deputies got their first tip that Algarad had killed Wetzler a mere 2 weeks after it happened. So it was 2 weeks. A woman named Tarina Billings contacted the sheriff's office with a lead. She said that her father, Alan Billings, had seen a body in the basement of Algarad's home on July 19th and helped Algarad bury the body parts in the backyard. Alan had reportedly told his daughter that Algarad had used cat litter and chlorine to conceal the odor. As for why Algarad had killed the man, Algarad reportedly told Billings that he had shot Wetzler 6 times for being a snitch. So he was close. There were 7 bullet holes. Don't know who he snitched to. Never got into it, but that was what was said.
Snitches get stitches is the saying.
If, though.
Yeah.
But Algarad was paranoid, so this man could have literally have done absolutely nothing other than sneeze or cough or look at Pazuzu incorrectly, and he flipped, thinking it was something different. So I trust nothing that Algarad says. Nothing.
Hell no. Crazy psychopath.
So this is what Tarina Billings, who is Alan's daughter, this is what she said. She said it was stated that Alan had been hanging out with Crystal Matlock, Pazuzu's second girlfriend / wife. And she had invited Pazuzu and Amber over to the Billings household to hang out. She said everyone was having a good time and drinking, and a few hours later, Pazuzu started bragging about how he shot a guy 6 times with a shotgun, and how he hid the body downstairs covered with cat litter and bleach to keep the smell down, and we all thought he was lying because he was drunk. And we were like, wow, he's crazy.
Yes, because that's totally a story you would, okay.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like if you're all drinking and someone says that, I'd be like, okay, sure, tough guy, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd believe it either, but it's a lot of I have a lot of confused feelings about this because I can kind of see both sides, and I don't know really which way I lean yet. I mean, obviously he's crazy, and obviously he did it. But the day after the party, Alan left with Crystal. They returned a few hours later with Pazuzu's mom, Cynthia. And Alan had cut off jean shorts on and had dirt all over him and didn't have on the same shirt that he had when he had left that morning. He actually had no shirt on and no explanation as to why he was looking like the way he was with half of his clothes missing. He refused to answer any question his daughter asked him about the situation. And Cynthia kept insisting that she had to go home right now. She had to return home immediately. When they left, Tarina followed them to Pazuzu's house. Cynthia, Crystal, and Alan pulled into the garage, and that's when Alan saw Tarina's car, and he ran across the yard and told her to get the fuck out of there. And she left because she said the look on his face scared her, and he had never spoken to her like that. So she knew he was serious, and she needed to leave. So she left.
Okay, one, why would you follow and be seen? That's like asking to also be a victim.
Yeah, I think maybe she was just concerned about her dad, you know, and just trying to protect him in, you know, whatever way she could. But
she's a bad spy. You're not supposed to be seen.
I mean, I don't really know if it was like spying either. I think she just kind of was like, what the fuck is going on? I'm gonna need to follow him and make sure he's okay. She said the decision to go to the police was very, very difficult. Like she battled with herself a little bit because her dad was involved. You know, she didn't know what exact involvement he had, but at some point she decided, you know, I'm just going to have to go to the police and tell them what I know. When the police investigators spoke with Allen, he denied any involvement, but did say that Algarad had admitted 3 days prior to that of shooting and killing someone. He just didn't know who, but that was just what was said. So with that, the investigator, identified in warrants only as Detective Foster, went to see Algarad face to face.
Oh.
Though no one was missing at that time. No missing persons reports had been filed in the area or anything. So it was kind of like a crapshoot. They didn't really know what they were going to look for or who to look for. But Algarad did allow the investigator to go inside the home, and deputies spoke with Algarad and asked him questions. They told him they had information that he had shot and killed someone, but, an inspection of the home resulted in nothing. They found no blood, no bones, no body, nothing. They found nothing. So they did walk around the home itself, the basement, the backyard. So that's why I'm saying, I feel like they had to have reburied him because this was 3 weeks later. They had to have reburied him because I feel sure that if someone's knees were sticking out of the dirt with a tarp on it, the police would have seen that. I would hope.
I would hope so.
I would hope.
Unless they didn't look hard enough.
Yeah. So, and this is a quote. It said there was supposedly something about chlorine, said Brad Stanley, the special assistant at the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office. Well, yeah, there was chlorine, but there was a swimming pool in the backyard, so there would have been chlorine. And then there was something else about cat litter that had come up. Okay, they had 15 or so cats. So he's basically saying, yeah, we were told this information. Well, I don't think they knew about that, but at least not yet. They know they find a lot of stuff later. But I think he's basically saying, the two things that were mentioned as quote unquote evidence of some kind of foul play have explanations. There's a pool. There's going to be pool chlorine. He's got a ton of cats. There's going to be cat litter. So it wasn't enough for them to pursue any criminal charges or any further investigations at that time. So over the next 6 months or so, a few more anonymous tips came in. Stanley said that they would get bits and pieces, and then people's stories would change. They completely flip, and it wouldn't be the same story that they initially came in with. So it was kind of hard for them to piece things together and functionally do an investigation because they were just getting so much misinformation or incorrect information or backwards information. It was just difficult for them. After Matt Flowers' interaction with the unknown man at Pazuzu's, the one that he had taken out for Red Lobster and told him hey, you need to leave because he wants to kill you. He decided that he needed to go speak to a detective about the situation. And that's kind of when they started taking things seriously because of Matt, him being in the military, Matt. Him not being on drugs, him having a unique perspective into it because he had been in that circle before.
Good job.
So that's kind of when they started, taking things seriously and not just blowing it off. And then October of 2009. So the first murder was in July. The second was in October. Tommy Welch, he disappeared October 3rd of 2009. That night, the plan was to have family time. His sister-in-law said, we gave hugs and said, we'll be back later and we will watch a movie and get us some pizza once the kids went to bed. That was our plan. And again, that was Carrie Price, which is his sister-in-law. Carrie and Tommy's brother left, and Tommy and his mom were at their home, or at her home in Clemens. And a little while later, Tommy walked half a mile to his own home, saying that he would be right back, but he never returned and was never heard from or seen again. So when Cynthia heard gunshots in her home yet again, she walked into a similar scene to the one in July. She said Amber came to the front entry of the hall, and there she said, go back to your room. And Cynthia said, okay. And just went to her room.
Cynthia, I swear
yeah, goose, blah, blah. It's rough.
His mother pisses me off.
Yeah. So February of 2010, so the following year, Stacy Carter, who again, as a reminder, was the first man that was murdered, his ex-girlfriend and the mother of his child, had known Wetzler to disappear for long periods of time, but alarm bells rang when she heard from a friend that Algarad had murdered him. But again, you know, she was kind of concerned prior to that because of the missed call for the mom's birthday and the son for Christmas. She went and spoke to Detective Foster on February 9th. And she said, I didn't know at the time that we weren't the first people that had reported that the police had already been told about it, about him missing. Unbeknownst to Carter, Winston-Salem police had found Wetzler's car, a 1989 Buick, days after she had last seen him. It had been found abandoned in an apartment complex on the 300 block of Brookline Street on July 26, 2009. The driver's side window was rolled down and the keys were still in the ignition. Like I'd said earlier, you know, it was all there. And it had not been reported stolen. So it was just an abandoned car. So like the police didn't check into anything further.
Because like the keys are still in the car.
Right. Which would, in my opinion, indicate foul play.
Because like who's going to leave their keys?
I mean, to be fair, a lot of people do leave their keys in the car, but they don't just walk away from the car and they're like, well, whatever. I'm going to just leave it there. I'm calling Papa Lock or my husband, or I'm breaking a window and getting my car. Like, I'm not just going to walk away from it. But they didn't think that way. So anyway, she reported Wetzler missing to the Davie County Sheriff's Office a few days later on the 15th of February. And she said, had I known his car had been found abandoned, we would have immediately started looking for him. Stacy had to tell Jared that they were pretty sure his dad had died. And Jared seemed relieved. Stacy feels as a child that a parent dying was a lot easier to accept than them just being abandoned.
Yeah, because then they're gonna know there's a reason.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of kids, like when their parents aren't involved, they blame themselves, and it's never the kid's fault. Never the kid's fault. So I can see kind of where that would be a relief. Still sad, but I get it.
Yeah.
On February 23rd, Detective Foster was granted the first search warrant to Algarad's home. The sheriff's department asked for the help of North Carolina State and the North Carolina
Archaeological.
Archaeological.
Oh, no, never mind. Never mind.
Archaeological Research Center, but the doctor heading up the program said his crew would not be available for another 2 weeks. He also mentioned that cadaver dogs may or may not be able to detect a body buried with the given circumstances.
Yeah, because all they're going to smell is cats. Cat litter and stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, there is a whole lot more.
Oh, no.
Nevertheless, the sheriff's office moved forward with the help of the SBI, Davie County Sheriff's Office, and Triad Bloodhounds. Ultimately, the Bloodhounds were unable to pick up any kind of scent in the backyard. And later, Brad Stanley had said something that they would do differently would probably be just to wait. But given the information that they had at the time and the circumstances, the decision was made to proceed. I don't know what they would have been waiting for. Another death, maybe, because if the pattern that they were following right now was not the pattern that they had followed, he could have hurt more people.
In the hallway, and mom just go, oh, let me just go back to bed.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. I mean, I think they could have done a lot more, obviously, but...
Wouldn't the mom be accessory to murder then?
You would think.
You tell... Oh.
We'll get there. Probably in part 2. Yeah, it'll most likely be part 2. Yeah. So, in May of 2010, shortly after the search, Algarad had choked his mother out on the sofa until she couldn't breathe, and he was arrested. In June of 2010... I'm
surprised he didn't kill his mother after all these years.
Yeah, in June 2010, on June 7th, investigators found the body of 30-year-old Joseph Emmerich Chandler of Donaha Park near the Yadkin River. He had been shot and killed. He was the third man to disappear from the Clemens area between July 2009 and July 2010. So in that 1 year span, month to month, 3 men had disappeared. Now that Josh Wetzler,
it was Josh,
Tommy. So In that 1 year span, three men had been missing. He was one of them. And it was found that Nicholas Pasquale Rizzi of Louisville. I think it's Louisville because it's a W. It's not Louis, it's Lewis, Louisville.
Oh, so I can't see what you.
Yeah, I think it's Louisville. Okay. Nicholas Pasquale Rizzi of Louisville was charged with involuntary manslaughter in Chandler's death. Algarad, then 31, was charged with accessory after the fact of involuntary manslaughter for allowing Rizzi to stay with him at his home in Nob Hill. Rizzi was convicted of involuntary manslaughter on March 31st, 2011, and was sentenced to 13 months in prison for killing somebody. Algarad pled guilty to being an accessory after the fact of involuntary manslaughter in 2012. A judge sentenced him to 10 to 12 months in prison and placed him on probation for 5 years. And he was still on probation when the bodies were finally found in his backyard. Chandler's mom does not believe it was an accident. The alleged way it happened was said that Rizzi and Algarad were out in the parking lot having quote-unquote target practice.
That was not no freaking accident.
And she believes that her son was the target practice. Just kind of like it was for Josh.
Yeah, accident my ass.
Yeah. So unfortunately, she never really got closure because I also don't believe it was an accident. In September of 2011, Algarad's self-proclaimed wife, Amber Birch, assaulted his mother. And on September 22nd, when it happened, police were called and Cynthia filed charges. So while Amber was in jail, Cynthia went to the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office and told deputies that in late 2009, she'd heard a gunshot and Amber was holding the rifle. But when deputies said they needed to question Algarad about the murder, that's where Cynthia stopped helping.
So she wants to get someone else in trouble,
Not
but
her son. She's an enabler. I actually wrote enabler much with a question mark.
Oh, his mother pisses me off. Oh my God.
Despite all of the witness statements and tips from other people, why did it take so long for the police to do something about it? They had multiple tips up to this point, and the only reason they started taking it seriously was when Matt Flowers went in there, and it was because he was a quote-unquote upstanding citizen.
Because they don't never believe people who do drugs and stuff anyway. They just think they're all lying.
And I don't know if any of the people who reported it were drug people. It doesn't say who the people were. It all just says anonymous. Could have been neighbors, but why didn't they do more to check into it? I mean, I'm real confused on how the cadaver dogs missed it the first time, but didn't miss it
Nothing makes
consecutive
sense.
times. None of this makes sense. But I think that is where we're going to stop right now for part 1 of Pazuzu Algarad. And I guess we're going to get some food.
Cucumber salad. And potatoes.
Potatoes.
Potato soup.
Oh, I've got to start that, yeah. I was like, we're not eating potatoes right now.
For dinner.
Yeah, for dinner.
Potatoes.
So that's part 1 of this bonkers story. Bananas.
My
Super
eyeballs
bananas.
twitching with how much his mother pisses me off.
I know, and that's like the whole thing. While I was doing all the research, I was like, why is his mother not doing...
I'm surprised he hadn't killed his mother.
He tried. He choked her out, and that may have been his intention. I struggled with trying to figure out why his mom didn't Over the age of 18, they are legally an adult, 21 in some states.
But she could have stopped this shit when he was 13.
Yeah. But, I mean, again, she did, quote-unquote, institutionalize him 2 or 3 times.
Clearly that didn't help.
And the doctor said the medication was not going to help. But I feel like there has got to be something that could have been done. We can speculate all we want. We don't have evidence contrary or otherwise. But I feel like there probably could have been something done more.
Yeah.
On somebody's part, specifically his mom. I mean, I think at some point he knew that he could just do whatever and she wasn't going to do or say anything about it.
Yeah.
And I think he just kept pushing and pushing and pushing the boundaries.
He's like, let's see how far I can push mother.
Yeah. I mean, and kids do that. I have 3 kids. They do that. But anyway, that is the story of Pazuzu Algarad, or the first part. Join us next time for part 2.
Part 2.
If you guys are interested, we do have a Patreon. We're still new and figuring things out, so we're not super sure what's going to be on Patreon yet. But if you're interested, it's going to be patreon.com/haunted and homicidal. We are working on a website.
Slowly but surely.
I am not enthusiastic about the templates, and I don't know anything about HTML or coding, so I'm trying to work on figuring all that out so it'll look the way I want it to look.
She's a perfectionist.
I am, and I just might go with like a website builder person and pay that $200 or $400 or whatever it is eventually. Anyway, tune in next time to get the last part of the Pazuzu Algarad case. So it was fun. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.
And get ready for more squirrel moments, because we have very much of those.
Yeah. ADHD is fun.
Woohoo!
Just kidding. Okay, bye.
Adios!